Starting lesson 11.4, volume of prisms and cylinders. Now the blank of a solid is the number of cubic units contained in its interior. That would be the volume. So we're talking about a three-dimensional quantity. Now simply stated, volume refers to the amount of space that an object occupies. All right, now it's a very simple formula for figuring out the volume of a prism or a cylinder. It's whatever the area of the base is times the height. All right, that's all there is to it. So example 1, find the volume of the prism. So here's our formula. Volume of prism is area of base times the height. What is the area of the base? It's 10 times 4. All right, that's 40. And then what's the height? The height is 3. So I have 120, in this case, since we're talking about volume, cubic inches. All right, just so you have a solid understanding of what volume is visually, it means I could break this up into 120 cubes. All right. Now, once again, it may be a little hard to understand this three-dimensional idea when you're just looking at a piece of paper or you're looking at the iPad, but go over and look at the figure I have set up so you can hold it in your hand and get a real-world idea of what volume is about. All right, let's do part B. Okay, what type of prism do I have here? This is a triangular prism, because the base is a triangle. So once again, I have area of base times the height. What is the area of the base? This is 3. This is 4. All right, and here I have a right angle. So I know this could be the base and this could be the height for the triangle because they're perpendicular to each other. So it's half base times height. And then what's the height of the prism? 2. All right, make sure not to confuse the heights. So I have half of 4, which is 2, and then 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 times 2, and I get 12. So I have 12 cubic centimeters can fit inside this prism. Done. All right, part C. What type of prism am I looking at here? Often students will say it's a rectangular prism, right? Because the bottom is a rectangle. But is the top the same as the bottom? No. Okay, so this is not a rectangular prism. This is actually a triangular prism. In this case, we're going to have to tip it over. All right, so we're just going to push it over from the top, and it's going to plop down. So you're going to have something like this. There's my right triangle in 3 dimensions. All right, there's the right angle. And then I have this. Okay, it's a little longer than I wanted it to be, but you got the idea. All right, there's my right angle too. All right, so the height is 11. All right, and I know that this length here is 9. Okay, and this is 8. Okay, so now let's figure out the volume. It's area base times the height. So the base is a triangle. So I have half of, let's see, what's the base and height of the triangle itself? 8 times 9. And then what's the height of the prism? 11. So I end up with half of 8, which is 4. 4 times 9, which is 36. 36 times 11 is 396. And it's going to be meters cubed. Done. All right, next idea. Next example here. Note, this is a trapezoidal prism because the base is a trapezoid. Okay, so we're going to have to use the trapezoid formula. for area. So let's figure out the volume here. It's the same deal. All right, I have a top base and a bottom base. I have area of base. Oops. Okay. I have area of base times the height. Okay, what is the base? The base is a trapezoid. All right, so here's the formula for figuring out the area of a trapezoid. All right, and this is the height of the prism. All right, so I have half of, what is the height of the prism? It's 4 times base 1, which is 10, plus base 2, which is 6. And then I have the height of the prism, which is 7. All right, half of 4 is 2. 2 times 16 is 32. So 32 times 7, which is 224 yards cubed. All right, done with that one. All right, now moving on to a cylinder. And I'm sure you've noticed at this point that determining the volume of a figure is much easier than figuring out the surface area. All right, so for a cylinder, same formula applies. All right, what's the base in this case? It's a circle. So we have pi r squared. That's times the height of the prism. All right, so we have pi. What is r? R is 5. And then times the height, 7. So 25 times 7 is 175. Pi, we'll just keep it in terms of pi. So 175 pi inches cubed. All right, for the next one. All right, what do we have here? Same idea as before. Here we have a triangular prism once again. All right, because I do not have a parallel top and bottom base. So we're going to have to tip this one over again. All right, so tip it over, and end up with something like this. All right, try and make it a little slanted. That's about right. Okay, and then here's my part to the prism I can't see. All right, the height is 8. All right, and notice that it's equiangular and equilateral. All right, so all sides are 10 here. Okay, so in order to figure out the area of the base, I have to figure out the area of the triangle. And in order to do that, I need to figure out the height of the triangle. How are we going to do that? All right, well, I'm going to draw the base on the side here, just so you have a idea of what we need to do here. This is an equilateral triangle, which means it's also equiangular. All right, so all these measures are 60 degrees. All right, and now this is the height. So what type of triangle do I have here? I have a 30, 60, 90, right? Because this is 30. And so this length here is 5, and that's the short leg. So what do you do to the short leg to get the long leg? Multiply by square root of 3. All right, so for the triangle, or the area of the base, it's going to be half. What's the base of the triangle? It's 10. Be careful with that. And then the height is 5 square root of 3. We just solved for that. And what's the height of the prism? It is 8. So I have half of 10, which is 5. 5 times 5 is 25, square root of 3. And then 8 times 25 is 200. So I have 200 square root of 3. In this case, yards cubed. All right, on to some more examples. Solve for the variable using the given information. All right, they give you the volume in this problem. All right, so the volume is 560, And the base is a rectangle, so it's just going to be 7 times 8, which is 56. And the height is x. All right, so I just divide by 56, and x equals 10. That's all there is to it. Done. All right, example 4, the 4 sides of the figure will be folded up and taped to make a box. What is it? What will its volume be? Okay, so what's going to happen is the box is going to look like this. All right, so you're going to fold the flaps up. All right, so that's like this flap here. Okay, that's what I have right here. Then I have this flap folded up here, which gives me this. All right, and there's the back flap. It gets folded up, so that's the back side. Left side's folded up, so I have that. All right, and I could actually see inside this box because I'm just folding up the flaps. That's the part I can't see. Okay, so what is the volume of this box? Well, I know that this part here is 3. All right, so 3 units, 3 units, 3 units. That's 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. That's 3 all around. And then what's the height going to be? Well, when I fold this part up, that becomes the height. So the height's just 1. So once again, volume is area of base times the height. So area of base is 3 times 3. All right, 3 times 3. And the height is 1. So the volume is 9. In this case, we're working with inches, so it's inches cubed. Next example. Now, if you have difficulty figuring out how to put together this diagram and what's actually going on here with this two-dimensional representation of the box, then just let me know, and I have a figure that I could show you so you could get a real-world idea of what's going on. All right, example 5, find the volume of the entire solid. All right, so what do we have going on here? We have we have the volume of the big prism minus the volume of the small prism. Okay, so volume of the big prism, what is it? We have the base, which is 12 times 8. All right, area base times the height. What's the height? 9. All right, that was simple. Now what's the area of the base for the small prism? I have 3 times 2 here. 3 times 2. And what's its height? Same as the big prism. It's 9. So I have 12 times 8, which is 96, times 9. And then I have 6 times 9. 96 times 9 is 864. And then minus 6 times 9, which is 54. So I end up with 810. So the volume is 810 meters cubed. Done with that. For the next example, find the volume of the entire solid. All right, there's a couple things we could do. We could break it up into 2 chunks. All right, could do something like this. And then we could find the volume of this piece. All right, so let's find the volume of the 2 prisms. And once again, I'll break it up into the volume of, in this case, I'll put the red plus the volume of the blue prism. All right, that works. So what's the volume of the red? Well, what is this length right here? Same as what we have back here, it's 4. And what is this length right here? Same as what we have right here, 4. So the area of the base is 4 times 4, and the height is 5. So then I have plus the area of the base, which is For the blue, that's going to be 5, so it's 5 times 4, and the height is 2. So I have 16 times 5, and it's plus 20 times 2. 16 times 5 is 80, plus 40, so I have 120. It's going to be units cubed. All right, that's all there is to it. Here's one other example. You could have, or one other way of doing this problem. You could have found the volume of the whole figure, all right, this massive rectangle, and then cut away this piece. All right, so you could find the volume of the big prism and then subtract this little green prism, and you'd still get the same result. So it's your choice how you want to approach the problem. All right, if there's any questions, please make sure to ask. Begin the assignment.